Back when the movie Soul Food first came out, Terry was considered the villain. But now, almost 20 years later, Terry was in the right, and now we apparently all owe her an apology. But you're all wrong. You were wrong then, and you are wrong now. And I'll tell you why. So, if you haven't seen Soul Food in a while, I'll give you a quick recap. The movie is about a family made up of three sisters. Terry is the oldest. She and her husband are both lawyers and they have no children. She is the most financially stable sister, at least, well, the most financially well off sister. Maxine is the middle sister and she's married with three kids and is a stay at home mom. She does give birth to one of the kids during the movie. Amber, she is the baby of the family and she owns a beauty salon. And the movie opens with her getting married at her wedding reception. Her father passed away some years ago, and their mom, affectionately called Big Mama, is the matriarch of the family. She is the keeper of traditions, the glue that holds the families together, and her home is the center of the family. Everything revolves around the family home and Big Mama, basically. So the family has this tradition of where they always get together for Sunday dinners and for holidays, and the holidays are even bigger, but Sunday dinners is the main tradition. And one Sunday, they are having Sunday dinner, and Big Mama, she burns herself, and it doesn't appear that she actually really felt that she burned herself. And they discovered that she has not been taking care of herself or eating right, which is absolutely crucial because she has diabetes. They are later told that she has to get her leg amputated because of her not taking care of herself due to the diabetes. And she's against it at first, but she does go through with the surgery. And during the surgery, she has a stroke and is in a coma. And this is where things start to fall apart. So now that you're all cut up, why was Terry considered the villain back in the day? Well, she doesn't really have a welcoming disposition in general. She comes across as cold, snobby, and standoffish. And she's actually pretty rude, petty, blunt, and just honestly a biatch. Very early in the movie, she has to let it be known at Bert and Lem's wedding that she's the one who actually paid for the wedding.
And put them off on family.
You're talking about family, putting them off on me. I'm the one who paid for this wedding.
And she let Bert borrow money to open her salon, and she's always the one who is giving the family money. And Maxine answers by saying, "Why you like gotta let everybody know you pay for something?"
Terry, why you always gotta let everybody know you pay for everything?
Because I do.
Which you know that basically means that she is the one who's always letting people borrow money and giving people money in the family. So yes, her mentioning it is pretty petty, but you know that the family leans on her though. If you're going to give someone money or let them borrow it, you should be giving it to them out the kindness of your heart and not to be a martyr or hold it over their head. Being a martyr is self-sacrificing in a way to where you have to let everyone know that you're suffering or you suffered or you gave something up to the detriment of yourself.
Instead of following Lem around, maybe she'd penny back that loan.
It's like when someone agrees to help you with something, but they complain to everybody else that they were too tired to help, or they didn't have time, or they didn't really have the money to help. So it's like they're playing the martyr role and they want some type of recognition for how much they have to suffer because they are helping you.
Terry, you are not hurting because you gave Bird money for that shot. I loaned her money, Max.
But I'm mostly leaning towards Terry not really being a martyr, but mostly being the type of person to want to hold something over someone's head to make herself feel superior or like she has one up on someone. What do you think? Do you think she's a martyr or does she just want to feel superior? Another thing about Terry that makes her off-putting is that she can be really straightforward and blunt. She does not mince words. When she confronts her husband, Miles, about the money that he took out of the joint bank account without letting her know, she could have handled that situation with more finesse and care. Like, that's your husband. Come on.
Fellas and I better record a CD.
A CD?
And to add insult to injury, she trivializes his music that he works diligently on, and she does not hide the fact that she thinks his music is unimportant.
You can make twice the amount of money, you spend more time on your job, and quit this music crap.
She's really seeming like she may be the main problem in the marriage with how cold she is. Like in the scene where he is trying to be playful and romantic and just trying to dance with her, she is just really uptight and then she just pushes him off. And that's where she lets him know that she can't go see him perform. And she has been kind of putting off seeing him perform for the last few weeks. And towards the end of the movie, she does mention that they did used to have fun together, but she doesn't know what happened. Like, this is her second marriage, and you really do have to wonder if maybe she is the main problem and why the marriage goes cold. Now, what changed in the 2020s to make everybody pro Teri? I believe it mostly has to do with a cultural shifts. Right now, we're in a time where it is pretty common and normalized to go to therapy and talk about your mental health and to heal your generational wounds and trauma. This was not the case at all 20 years ago, especially not with Black families. Right now, we are all about putting ourselves first, being the main character, that main character energy. No is a complete sentence, like just all of that. We are all about just healing, doing what's best for ourselves and just exposing like generational wounds. Just all of that has been normalized like in the past 20 years, which is a good thing. So now people can really see how Terry's family was using her for her money. And her mom was okay with this because she had all that money stashed away. She didn't offer to pay for Bird's wedding. She didn't offer them home her money. It sounds like she was just okay with Terry being the one to hold the family up financially. And it makes you also assume that since she's the oldest, like she's been maybe adultified when she was a kid. So she was the oldest and she had all these expectations put on her that was obviously more than the other girls had, those expectations put on her to do good in school, to go to college, to go to law school. So she had all these you can tell, like, they put all these expectations on her, well, or where the other girls probably didn't have those same expectations, at least not to the extent Terry did.
Mama and Daddy kept my head in the books, and that's why I'm a successful lawyer.
So kinda like she probably had that second mom role when they were growing up due to her being the oldest sibling. And I do think, some kids kinda lean into that being the oldest because they kinda wanna tell the youngest what to do, or they kinda like playing that role, but if it's forced on you, I'm sure it can lead to you being bitter like Terry was. And it really annoyed me that at a couple different times in the movie that Big Mama and Bert told Maxine that she's the strongest one in the family when it is obviously Terry who is the strongest one in the family. Like, what a slap in the face. Like, Terry is the one that everyone leans on when they need something financially. And remember how I said that she was straightforward? Now, you can have a trait that works horribly in one situation, but is exactly the right trait that is needed in another situation. Like she was the one who had the boss to confront Faith and like put everything out there, let her know what she thought about her, and let her know that she is not gonna come up in here and play the type of games that she's been playing in the past. Like she just ran down the list of all the chaos that Faith had caused in the past, like taking out a loan, um, like having Big Mama help her take out a loan for a car and she didn't pay the car payment, for example, getting arrested. Like she just ran down all of her little misdeeds and she told her, do not come up in here starting any mess. And she was the only one who had the nerve to actually say something to Faith. And she was the one who called to have her cousins go and check Lim after he put his hands on Bird. And side note, pushing a woman into the wall is just as bad as hitting her, okay? Just in case you were wondering. And lastly, Terry is the most logical person of the sisters. So when they were talking about needing to pay for mom's medical bills because her insurance just wasn't enough, which like what was her out of pocket max to where she needed to pay like sell the house to pay for her bills. Anyways, but Maxine, of course, being the manipulator that she is, offered up Terry's money to pay for the medical bills and said that they were going to pay her back. And Terry was like, no, 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 we're not doing this again. How about we sell the house? And Maxine's very emotional about it, sentimental about the house. Of course, I understand that, but you can't offer up somebody else's money to pay for medical bills if you don't have the money. And they get mad when they say, hey, this is a better choice or better decision to make or the more logical decision. Instead of always using my money for everything. Like we really don't know how much the medical bills were, but to have to sell a house to help pay for them, it must have been a lot. So of course she's the more logical one, while Maxine's being driven by emotion, and Burr is just kind of following along with what Maxine's saying. Honestly, I get it because my family home is still in the family from when I grew up. So I would totally understand how sentimental that is and how difficult it could be to sell your family home. But honestly, I would do the same thing. Like I said, it would be difficult, but it's the most logical thing to do. So I'm kind of with Terry on that. Like, let's just do the thing that makes the most sense. Um, and then Maxine goes to a lawyer to try to stop her from selling the house, which is crazy because you still don't have the money to pay for the medical bills. So how are you trying to get a lawyer to not sell the house? Okay, we don't sell the house. How the medical bill is going to get paid? You still putting it back on Terry. It's just crazy. And then how much does Terry have to freaking suffer? Like, can we talk about the fact that she caught Maxine making out with her boyfriend in his car when they were teenagers, and now they get married, and she has to see him every Sunday for dinner with their cute little family, their cute little kids, and their happy little family, and she just has to suck it up and not say anything about it. How crazy is that? And then she has another family member betray her, her cousin Faith, the one she had to check and told her to be on her best behavior. Of course, she still wasn't, and she sleeps with Miles, her husband. So she has her sister betray her over a dude, and then her cousin betrayed her over a dude. And of course, Miles, it's probably more at fault because that is her husband, I feel like. And that's just in a whole other topic. Like, she was nice enough to let this little hetta stay with her until she found her own place, and that's how you repay her? And at that last family dinner, Maxine has the nerve to tell that little trollop to stay for dinner when they should have exiled her, like, cut her off. Like, we're done. I'm sorry, but I don't care if you're family. I'm of the mind, I do not care if you're family. If you're trash, I don't mess with you, period. Okay, so why is everybody wrong about Terry? Why was people back then wrong and why are people wrong now? Because it's just not one or the other. It's all true. All of these different traits make up Terry. And this is why Soul Food is such a classic because it really showcases the human condition and these characters are just multidimensional. Yes, Terry is cold and petty and mean, but she is also the one to make tough decisions, says what needs to be said when no one else will, and sacrifices herself for the family when they take her for granted. She is a complex character. She just feels so real and so human, as well as so many other characters in the movie. It really shows the complexity of family dynamics so naturally, and most of the characters, again, are just really complex and feel really real. That's why when I rewatched recently, I'm discovering for the first time how manipulative Maxine is and how Bird is kind of a bird. She has this playful innocence about her, but underneath it, she can be pretty conniving. And I don't know if you know this too, but you probably know Soul Food was made into a TV show, and the TV show is also amazing. I watched it when it was out. I watched like every episode of it, and I think it was a great idea to make it into a TV show because there was so much more to unpack from this movie. And you can take it in so many different directions. Like with people, I feel like with us, with humans, no one is truly good or bad. Like some people do, of course, you have evil people or you have people who lean more towards being good. But I feel like for the most part, it is a spectrum, and most of us kind of fall towards the middle to where we have things about us that aren't that great. Or, we have things about us that are amazing. Like you can have someone who at work, they are this really nice person. People love them at work. They're really bubbly, but when they go home, they are monsters with their kids. Or you can have, someone who is kind and they go out of their way for people, but maybe they're alcoholic or they, used to do some things back in the day when they were younger. Like we are not just one thing. We are just so most people are just multifaceted. None of us are just one dimensional, even if we feel that way or appear that way on the surface. We just have flares to us and different sides to us. As we get older, we change and we grow into different people, or we may stay the same, like to the core, but just grow into these different people. So I just really feel like this movie showed that. And again, that's why it is an instant classic. And you can watch it every few years and get something totally different from it. So yeah, let me know what you think. Are you team back in the day or are you team 2020s? Or do you kind of fall where I do that she's both, she's just a combination of all these different traits, and that's what makes her feel so real and human. That's all I have for today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.